I just can't today.
I'm like...
It's one of the... I don't want to give anything away, but I just can't. And this is going to be a tough one.
We're going to do it for Andreen because she fucking deserves it. But everyone else can go kick rocks.
Can go to hell.
I'm concerned.
Go straight to hell.
You know what?
Totally.
Scram.
Hi, Julian Mezzavali.
Hi, Patrick Hines.
Oh, fam. Join the Facebook group. Hey, the Facebook group is such a fun place to hang out.
Yeah.
59,000 people in there, something like that.
Give or take.
Sasha, our moderator, takes it really seriously, makes it a very safe space. Yeah. It's a very fun space to be. People are in there all the time making friends. There's so many splinter meetup groups now. There's
many.
Salt Lake City is doing their Friendsgiving. There's the NorCal. They're always doing stuff. I know they were trying to make one happen like in Raleigh and Charlotte. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So get in there, find your people. It's the True Crime Obsessed podcast discussion group. I'm in there. You're in there. We're in there all the time. Steve's in there. You just
gotta answer the questions before you come in.
Yeah, don't forget to answer the questions because otherwise Sasha won't let you in. And it's Sasha's world. We just live in it.
And then you're just going to be in the queue forever.
Forever and ever. Wondering why you're not in there having all the fun.
Yeah, answer the questions.
Answer the goddamn questions. What are we talking about today, girl?
Okay, so this is one of our bonus episodes that we do. It's the 21st one of the year, I think.
Whoa.
Crazy. But
the first year we only did 10.
I know.
And now we're up to 21.
Can't help ourselves. Oh, I know. This is an episode of 48 Hours. It's called Andreen McDonald, A Millionaire Vanishes.
She would be at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, in the office by 8. On March 1st, they had no indication she would be late. She didn't show up for work. This was very significant to her employees. They called the gym and found out she never showed up to the gym, which is like a religion to her.
After calling Andreen repeatedly, it's going to voicemail. The anxiety starts setting in. I start panicking. For Andreen to be missing is not possible.
The biggest issue for me were the fact that her phone was missing, her purse was still there, her keys were on the counter, and her vehicles were still there.
If her vehicle's there, her purse is there, her keys are there, if she's missing, is there a concern of an abduction?
Well, the deputies obviously didn't know what to think at this point. They were just beginning the investigation.
So it's March 1st, 2019. Peter Van Sant is reporting.
Hey, Pete.
Anyone was wondering. But, we dive...
He's no Andrea Canning. You know what I mean? But he gets the job done.
We dive right in here. It's March 1st, 2019. Andreen is reported missing by her mother, Maureen.
Yes.
And Deputy Salazar shows up to the scene, and it is pretty alarming. There's blood on the wall. There's hair. They find what they describe as a, quote, random burn pile with a piece of Andreen's clothing, a zipper.
This is all very alarming.
Right. So that's sort of how we open. We open on the scene and Andreen is missing. So we learn that Andreen is from Jamaica.
Yes.
We're told, quote, she was brought to the United States by her husband. Her husband is named Andre. Sometimes he goes by Andy. I don't give a shit. He sucks.
He's a major in the Air Force. He had a top secret security clearance. His career...
But he actually did. Usually when we hear that,
totally.
That's not the case.
His career is pretty, impressive.
Yeah, he's a cyber warfare analyst. Andre, I hate you. If you happen to do that, then good for you. So Andre, the husband, hears that Andreen is missing and he rushes back home.
Yeah.
But at the minute he gets there, he's like, I'll be right back. He wants to act on a hunch, he says.
He goes to a nearby hospital thinking that Andreen might have gone there because she suffers from migraines and I guess sometimes they're so bad she checks herself into the hospital.
And he really does go there.
We see the video. Yeah. What is about to happen is so crazy and is never resolved.
Yeah. So Frank Stubbs is the lead investigator and he tells us and Peter Van Sant, this is when something weird happened because the husband goes to the hospital and we do see him. We see him walking in. We see him at the front desk.
You can see him asking for McDonald. And they tell him there's somebody in room 3 named McDonald.
He arrives back to the house. What does he tell them?
He tells them that she's in the hospital.
The husband runs home. He does not go into the room to see his wife. He just confirms that someone with the same last name is there and then leaves and then goes home.
Because he says he wants to go. He left his cell phone at home and he wants to go call her mother to say, we found her. She's at the hospital.
But he doesn't go see her.
into the room. So this feels, guess what? It's not her.
It's not her.
We're going to find that out in a minute. But this seems like an awfully lucky break for him.
I think he was planning it. I think he was
Right?
trying to say, oh, well, I went to the hospital, but he didn't play that tape through. It's like, well, go visit your wife then.
Right. But there really was somebody named McDonald in room number 3.
But it wasn't
But it
Andreen.
wasn't her. Like, it's this very bizarre coincidence.
Yeah, and the husband's like, no, this is totally on the up and up. I left the hospital before checking on my wife because I left my phone at home and I just wanted to call her mother and let her know everything's okay. And I'm like, you don't know everything's okay.
Exactly.
All you know right now is that your wife is in the hospital.
And the thing is, maybe because he had the hunch, it tells me that maybe this was a thing that happened a lot, that she would check herself into the hospital. So maybe just the fact that there was a McDonald in room number 3, like it happens so often, it's got to be her. I'm just going to go home.
We learn a lot about Andreen. Not a single person mentions her migraines.
I know.
Except for this asshole.
You know what? You're absolutely right. This is the most bizarre thing that's happened in any of these documentaries in a long time.
It's like you think you're being smart, Andre.
Right.
I see you. I hate you.
I hate you too. Everyone is calling her. Like, everyone is saying, like, she would never just vanish. We're going to learn they've got a little girl. Like, everyone is, like, blowing up her phone, being like, girl, where are you?
Yeah, they're devastated. They're confused because Andreen is focused. She's determined. She's responsible. She is super successful. She created an assisted living business.
Yeah, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's called Starlight Homes.
She was 22 at the time.
Now, importantly,
according to Andre's close friend, Andrew Russell,
in order to start the business, Andre, he liquidated his 401k.
Andre bankrolled her dreams.
And he sold the BMW that he owned.
Andre liquidated his 401k to get it off the ground and sold his car.
His precious BMW.
Yeah, so he's kind of the money behind the thing, but she's like the brains of the operation.
She did it all.
She did it all.
You walk into an assisted living, who you want to see, Andreen or Andre?
No,
Andreen by a mile.
No, but we're going to learn later there were business disputes, and like I would imagine that he probably legally has some claim to the
Of course
business
he does.
because he's invested in it or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to note about this business, it started out small and it is now a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and she did this in 7 years.
Yeah, she started when she was 22 years old.
Yeah.
So we meet Mandy, who's Andreen's childhood friend, and she tells us about, like, they both wanted to come to the United States. That's where the dream was.
Yeah, they're from Jamaica.
Yeah, and she tells us that Andreen met her husband. Andreen was 19 years old. The husband was almost 30, 10 years older than her. He's also Jamaican. He was in the Air Force. And they got married really, really quickly.
Yeah, because that was how he wanted to, like, get her to the States to be with him.
Yeah, so they moved to the United States. They had their daughter, Alina.
And they say that, like, Alina is the center of everybody's world. We see pictures of her. She's the cutest little kid.
Yeah, especially Andreen. So the whole, like, oh, she probably ran away on a vacation. Like, we're not even entertaining that.
Right, exactly. Right, because they're saying,
which
like,
you never should anyway. But.
No, and they're saying, like, the presence of the daughter makes the disappearance, quote, perplexing. I'm like, what are we talking about? There's blood and hair on the walls.
Right,
This is not,
and a burn pit.
And a burn pit with her fucking clothes in it in the backyard. This is not this woman did not walk out of her. And it's moments like this that I'm like, are we doing this for the episode, or are we doing this because they really thought that?
We're doing this for the episode.
Okay.
Because the cops are hoping that Andre has some answers, but what he tells them just leads to more questions.
Yes.
Because the last time the husband saw Andreen was the night before, and they had a fight.
Yes.
So they were with their accountant.
He had told them they had come home from the tax preparer's office and that they had argued over the business, and he went up the road, got some gas, and just cooled off.
They had a fight about the business, which I'm sure wasn't uncommon.
I was just going to say, they're going to tell us this is a weird story. Nothing about that is perplexing to me.
But they had me in the first half.
Having lived through that, I don't know, every year around April, I would say meeting with the tax people and having a fight with your spouse, not uncommon.
Huge. So that you work with? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
that's what I mean, yeah.
Andre says they had this fight, right? So Andre says he went off for a drive to clear his head and cool off. Now that's true because we have video of it. We can see him.
It's true. There's a lot of video in this. We see him at he went to the gas station to cool off, he says.
Yeah, we can, like, they're like, okay, fine. You did leave, right?
Yeah.
So then he goes home. They sleep in separate rooms. Fine, whatever.
Now that is a little bit like, it's not that that's perplexing. People do that, but that tells us more about this relationship than we knew because we're going to see so much footage of them, like, loving each other at parties, and they're dancing together. And this is a couple who very much puts on a public face, but shit was going down behind the scenes at home.
Right, because I think also she stepped into, everyone was like, oh, she's like a wonderkin. She's so amazing. And then to kind of, I think people feel to show any crack at all means that everything's going to crumble. And that's not true.
No.
But hiding that can kind of lead us to a scary situation.
And who knows, like, maybe they did have this sort of fiery on again, off again. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I don't think they hated each other all the time. I don't think they loved each other all the time. I will tell you from experience, working with your spouse is not easy.
Yeah, and like, what does a 19 and 30-year-old have in common anyway?
Exactly.
You know, and it feels kind of... It feels just, I don't want to talk about Andreen in a way, because we don't know her and we don't know her motivations, but it's like she got married super young, had a baby really young. This guy gave her money for her business that she did.
Yes.
Not she did all the work for that, but the money, it feels a little transactional, a little bit.
But they're suddenly living in this like gorgeous McMansion. Like they've got a bunch of cars. Like they're doing really well.
And so the cops are like, all right, he told us about the fight, but he didn't tell us about the text. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what text?
I know.
So their marriage is described as being in turmoil due to allegations of betrayal.
Yeah. We learned about a man named Aubin Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So he's described as a businessman living in Port Antonio in Jamaica. He was Andreen's ex-boyfriend and potentially her current lover, they describe him.
So the texts are that Andreen is texting her husband, do not mention Aubin to me again or it's over.
Yes.
Like, stop it. We're having fights about Aubin. If you do, I'm going to divorce you. Shut up about it. So Mandy's like, may I? Peter Van Tant. A little bit of context here.
Aubin dated Andreen when she was a teenager, say investigators. Andreen's close friend Mandy says the two rekindled their romance in 2017 during one of her philanthropic trips to the island.
Aubin has always been that first love. It wasn't something Andreen got over emotionally.
Mandy's like, he was her first love.
But like, I don't know. We don't get a ton of confirmation on this. It's like she was doing so well that she was making philanthropic trips back to Jamaica.
And
which
cheating.
Is incredible of her.
Yeah, but she was cheating on her husband with Aubin.
Okay, so that's like confirmed.
Yeah, they were secretly dating.
Yeah.
Because we learned, Mandy says they dated when Andreen was a teenager, but it's like she married this guy when she was a teenager too.
Exactly.
So,
and she never like got over Aubin.
Right, and so she was going back to Jamaica and they were in like a secret relationship, but not so secretly.
I mean, very not secretly.
Because they had matching tattoos.
Like two of them. This is wild. She had an A on her hand and on her wrist is a date. And Andre like goes all Inspector Gadget, tries to figure out exactly like the mystery of the tattoos.
Like, wouldn't you be suspicious too?
A million.
I hate this guy.
I know.
But it's a pretty like.
I gotta tell you, like, not to wander too far afield. See, the other day I got a code for Apple on my phone, and he's like, "Can I have your phone for that code?" I just handed it to him. The absolute luxury and beauty of living in a marriage where there are no secrets.
Oh, yeah.
You can go through my phone, you can look through my emails. I've got absolutely nothing fucking to hide. Like, it is the best, and that was not really the case with Andre and Andreen.
No,
because Andre looks into it.
It was on social media where Andre discovered an interesting photograph of Aubin branded with the same exact tattoo that was also on Andreen's hand. And those numbers, 14-3-76, they're Aubin's birthday.
They both got A for Andreen and for Aubin, and then each other's birthdays.
Oh, right. Yes, that's what the A stands for.
That's what the A stands for.
But like the audacity, it could also stand for audacity. The audacity to get the man's birthday tattooed on your wrist.
You know, from everything I've learned about Andre, good.
I know.
Fuck this guy.
I agree. But like when people ask you that, what's the answer?
That's the thing.
You know?
So that's why I'm thinking, I think it was more of a business relationship than like a romantic lovey-dovey thing.
Or maybe it was that it started out lovey-dovey, but then like they were in business together and like the love is over. I think the reason she doesn't leave him is because she's afraid he's going to take half the business.
Well, that's because he will.
Right.
Because he hates her and sometimes you think they're your biggest fan, but they're really your biggest hater.
Yes.
And this Andreen Andre situation is the same thing. Like he's, I think, very threatened. Can you hear it?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Like I gave you the money for that. And what about my 401k? I could be driving a BMW. I mean, come on.
No, 100%. But so she's in love with Aubin, but is like stuck with her husband because she doesn't want to lose half her business.
Right. And now, according to Mandy, the best friend, Andreen, like the minute she got the tattoo, she was like, shit. Like Andreen knows it was impulsive. It was way too obvious.
It's
like she
also
knows.
like rubbing it in his face. Now, Andre sucks. Rub everything in his face. Like I hate this guy, but like it is not going to do anything to make the tension at home any less.
Well, so Andreen is caught.
Yeah.
And Andre says,
enraged, Mandy says Andre threatened divorce unless Andreen cut off contact with Aubin, covered up her tattoos, and promised to never travel to Jamaica without him.
she can never go to Jamaica alone ever again.
Like, yeah,
and she says yes because of her business.
Of course. And I mean, and that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And more to the point, I think what nobody's saying, because it's a 42-minute episode, is that like Andre is a completely unreasonable fucking asshole.
And he resents her success. He's jealous of her.
Right. So like, not only would she like have to give him half the business, he'd probably destroy the business out from under her.
Like, her life would be destroyed.
Yes.
And so she agrees, right?
Oh, God, what a prison.
I know.
Oh, my God.
So she covers the tattoo. She agrees to everything else. And to the outside world, it looks like everything is cool. They'd worked through the cheating.
Well, and Mandy tells us Andre's 40th birthday, we see video from it. This is where like they're running around together, they're dancing, they're having fun, and like everything seems to be fine on the outside. It's just 13 days later that Andreen goes missing.
Right.
13 days later.
Yeah. Which really just goes to show, right?
Yeah. I mean, you never know anything.
You have no idea. It's really sad. Like, that just made me so...
I know.
Like, my heart just got really heavy thinking about that.
I know. It's awful.
So let's go through the house and the crime scene.
Yeah.
Andreen's phone is missing. There's no movement on her credit cards or her bank accounts.
Like, walk me through this.
Sure.
There's no world in which any of these cops believe that she just walked off into a new life.
So that's for the show.
They're doing it perfunctory, right? Like, they're doing it because they have to say that they did.
They need to get to 41 minutes.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, a little bit.
But also the cops. Like, I can't imagine any cop in this crime scene is saying, well, she probably just walked away. I know there's blood and hair on the wall.
And no one said, we don't hear anybody say that.
Yeah.
But I think they're really going through, again, you start close and what do we have? What do we don't? Where's their movement? Where is there not? Let's see. But Andre is a person of interest immediately.
Right away.
So he gets a lawyer.
And remember now, like, he's got all the money because he's got all her money.
Right. Oh, I would love to see the breakdown of the paperwork of the percentages of who gets what, because he put the money and he's the man and he did this.
The thing that, having just started a business, I know they probably don't have any paperwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which just means half of what is hers is his.
Fuck.
I know. You start a business, you never think it's going to work. You know what I mean? Or even if you think it's going to work, you never. How long did it take us to sit down and like be like, what are we actually? We write? Years, I think.
Yeah. So 2 p.m., the day after Andreen is reported missing, there's what they call an undercover investigator watching the house and Andre.
And thank God there is.
Yeah. Now, they notice the garage door is damaged, and they're like, let's clock that. We're going to put it in our notes.
Yeah.
Now, they're watching Andre. Andre, again, 2 p.m., the day after Andreen is reported missing, Andre leaves the house.
The investigator followed him to a nearby gun shop, where additional investigators who were called to the scene observed Andre purchasing a 9mm handgun and ammunition.
Now, we see Andre buying a 9mm handgun and ammunition.
Yeah.
And then Andre leaves the store.
Well, and they think he's buying the gun to harm himself. So at this point, they've decided in their brain, whatever happened to Andreen, he probably did it, and now he's going to kill himself.
Right. So 48 Hours says, which I was like, oh, that's new, which I'm glad they're doing.
Me too.
But they said the cop's violent takedown may be disturbing to some viewers.
Yeah.
Because they body slam him by his neck.
I mean, it was disturbing to me. Like, it's very hard to watch.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times the cops are doing this to innocent black men.
Yes.
This guy happens to be guilty as fuck.
Yes.
But it still is like, holy shit, the ease with which it's like, boom.
And the truth of the matter is he's an armed person with like a gun and ammunition on him. So this could go badly very quickly.
Yeah, they body slam him onto the concrete in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Like by the curb.
I know.
Like,
and you see like his legs go up in the air. It's very violent.
I was like, but the ease.
I know.
I'm like,
and the
God.
second time I watched it, I was like, oh my God, the guy who did it is enormous.
Like, and I hate Andre.
Yeah.
But can we ask a question?
I know. I just think when you got a guy that you think killed somebody and he's got a gun and ammunition on his body, I think it's...
But he's a black guy.
I know.
Have to talk about it.
Listen to me.
How many other fucking guys are getting McDonald's in the backseat of the cop car?
I know. It was In-N-Out Burger, but yeah.
Whatever. Well, they're not...
I'll get a double and a small vanilla milkshake.
But I'm saying...
Scott.
The fact that I was thinking of somebody else, some other case, is fucking insane.
No, you're absolutely right.
So... They hand Andre over to military police for a mental evaluation. Meanwhile, the cops search the house and Andreen's car because they got a search warrant.
Yeah, guess what they find?
There was a shovel. There was an axe.
An axe. There was a hatchet kind of maul. There was trash bags. There were gloves and a couple of gas cans.
And a few cans of gas.
This is just where we are reminded again and again and again how fucking bad these people are at
That's
this.
just in Andreen's own car.
I know. In Andreen's own car.
And now in the house, in the garbage can, is a ripped up receipt from Lowe's.
I mean...
From the day after Andreen went missing. They put this thing back together in 2 seconds. He ripped it up once.
I know. So they go to Lowe's. They pull their surveillance video. We see Andre walking around the store, hood up,
Yeah.
clearly trying not to be seen by the cameras.
The investigator and Peter Van Zandt are standing up watching this, and they're like, there he is.
And it's all the stuff that was in the back of Andreen's car, all the shit from the murder aisle at Walmart or
The
Lowe's or
shovel,
whatever.
yeah.
Once again, what he bought, just to remind, a shovel, an axe, a hatchet, trash bags, gloves, gas cans.
Yeah.
When you see a person buying that kind of shit all at once, can somebody say something?
It's a slippery, I hear you. I do. I think it's a slippery slope.
I guess. I
Because
guess.
then where does it end? Then we're asking people, you know,
what
it's
else
like,
do you need a shovel, an axe, a hatchet, trash bags, gloves, and gas cans
You're going-
for?
you're
lose
going
me
camping.
you lose me at gas cans. You know what I mean?
camping for the fire.
I guess so.
You're cooking out.
You're definitely right, but it is like add zip ties to this list, and there's got to be some kind of alarm. You know what I mean?
For the garbage. All I'm doing is devil's advocate.
I know,
I'm just saying,
I
like,
know.
there's a reason for
I know.
all of it, and then it becomes kind of like,
It's also like a man. He's got his hood up. He's trying. You can see that he's looking for the
Well,
cameras.
that's
it's like
the thing. Like,
you know,
his hood is up.
Yeah.
He's like trying to hide his face. Peter Van Zandt calls us a cart full of ill will.
yeah, it's the literal murder aisle.
like
at
the
Lowe's.
murder aisle,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, luckily the cops in this instance aren't idiots, and they put this all together because he's so stupid and he's so bad at this because they
Right.
always are.
Right.
You can't win as the killer because even when you try to do the thing from the jailbreak one where she bought one camping thing a month for 9
No, I
months,
gotcha.
they're still gonna find you.
Not everyone is on camera all the time.
All the time.
Too. Like,
I know.
we can track you everywhere.
true.
Don't even try.
Just everyone stop killing
Can
each
everyone
other.
just like stop trying? Don't even try to get away with it.
I know.
Game over.
I know. God.
So there's even more evidence at the house because there's a hammer in the garbage can at home.
What's on the claw hammer that's of interest?
The lab determined that there was the presence of blood on the hammer, and the DNA that they obtained from that blood sample was from Andreen.
But Andre's clothes are in there too, and Andre's clothes have traces of blood on them.
Yes.
So
and there's also blood on the hammer.
and the blood is Andreen's.
Yes. They
So-
send it away for DNA testing. It comes back. It's Andreen's.
So they can't prove right now that Andre murdered his wife, Andreen, because when they arrest him, it's for tampering with evidence because of the
Right.
ripped up receipt.
They're just getting him off the street because like he's a hazard to himself. They know that he's going to do something awful. But I just want to say murder is upsetting no matter what.
Yes.
But to know
Glad you
that this
agree.
woman was probably beaten to death with a
I know.
hammer. I mean, it is a level of violence that is so. What is wrong with that man's soul? Who can do that to another human being under any circumstance?
I mean, I honestly think what happened, this is an insecure man who always hated women, who wanted to control a 19-year-old, and she
Yeah.
said, bet, and she became a fucking millionaire at 22. And you know who he was? He was the helper.
Yeah.
He wasn't the star,
Yeah.
and I think that breeds a lot of resentment. And she was cheating on him.
Yes.
Which she was in a shitty situation. I'm not saying cheating as a bad thing for Andrew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can absolutely see how we get from point A to point B with this piece of shit.
But what always gets forgotten is the kid. This is the reason I know that I'm not at least a fucking monster because there's no world in which I wouldn't only be thinking about Daisy in the moment I decide I'm going to kill my husband. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
No, yeah, of course.
Like
yes.
it all just makes me crazy.
Yeah.
We had two really hard ones today.
We
I'm
had
sorry. We
rough
recorded
ones today.
the worst roommate ever. And these are hard
It's
ones.
just really bad.
Yeah.
Everyone is like shocked. Everyone is confused. Andre has stopped cooperating. He lawyers up fine.
Because they say, like, after they find, like, the blood on the hammer and the bloody clothes in the garbage and the fucking Lowe's murder aisle receipt, they say,
And
like...
the video.
And the video. They're like, it looks like he murdered her.
The evidence was pointing towards a murder.
But there was a problem. None of the evidence collected proved that a murder had actually occurred.
Turning a missing persons case into a homicide case is very difficult.
Turning a missing persons case into a homicide case is very difficult. And, like, just that sentence is like, oh.
Because where is she?
Especially because they don't have the body.
Because
it's like all of the evidence of the murder is like he bought all the shit from the murder aisle.
Right.
You know, like there's blood on the hammer. He threw away his clothes. He's trying to hide
some
the
hotshot
evidence.
lawyer can get him out of that.
I know.
I mean,
and
we've seen
using
it.
her money, which is the irony of it all.
We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, where's the...
Yeah. It's just like the evidence is all right there, you know?
So the police are now asking the public for help.
Yes.
And we meet Bobby Green, who is a former Air Force airman. He leads the search party.
Yeah.
They're searching everywhere. While they're searching, Andre is released on bond.
I love that there is like a press corps there to meet him when he gets out of prison.
What he does not do, he does not go search for his missing wife.
No, he goes to her business and takes over the management responsibility.
The minute she decided on the name of this company
Yep.
is the minute he's been pining
Yep.
to take it from her.
I was thinking about him not participating in the search efforts. And obviously I think he did this, but like, I wonder if his justification would be like, well, then all the focus will be on me and, you know, we need the focus to be on finding her.
Yeah, I wonder if also, like, I think a very valid thought would be like, I can't be the one to find her.
Exactly.
I can't be the one, but I think I'd be close. You know, I'm not going to judge someone.
We've talked about this a lot.
Guy.
Like if it was Steve and I didn't do it, you know, and like we're doing the search, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could.
Because
You're right. Like the idea of being the one to find him.
And then like, what are you going to see?
Right.
Like, shouldn't he continue to be the person in the form he is now? You shouldn't see that.
Yeah, the guy that like nags me to do the laundry and close all the doors and put
fighting during tax season. Like,
oh, Steve, I love you. He's the best.
But that, you know, like, so it's not always.
The nagging's a lot, though. You know what I mean? The nagging is a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
I mean, should I put my own laundry away? Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
could I remember to fold my towel after the shower and put it? Yes.
You don't do any of that?
I do it. Like, I do it, just not all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you?
Yeah.
Every time?
Yeah.
Of course. Does Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, well.
Do I just like leave a wet towel on the floor? No.
Yeah, never. Not one. I'm never leaving it on the floor because I think it's his job to pick it up. I just I'm moving on to the other thing.
Let me ask you.
Oh God.
In your mind, like, where does it end up? Like, how does it get?
That is a very fair question. So that is kind of what I was just trying to say. I'm never like, I'm intentionally leaving this here so that somebody else will pick it up for me. What the thought usually is, or what really happens is like, oh shit, I forgot to post the episode. And I have to run and post it, and I've just forgotten that the towel is on the ground. You know
and the
what
next time you see it, you'll
the next time I see it,
get to it.
He's already folded it and put it back because he does kind of start to follow me around and just do the things behind me.
You've trained him well.
Do you know what I mean? But the episode got posted on time. Aren't we happy for that?
Sure, yeah. But at what cost?
I'm thinking of you, listeners. I'm thinking of you.
We hate this guy, so of course he didn't participate in the search. But I do understand if people, I'm thinking about, I don't even want to say things out loud, but people that I know who would be like, I can't go.
No, yeah, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
I can't go.
It's important almost that they don't go. It's why, like, if you're a doctor and your kid gets wheeled in, you're not allowed to operate on them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So the search goes on for months, and as this is happening, the cops are digging deeper into their relationship, and it is not good at all.
It's really bad. And, like, this is where they see, once again, Andre put up the original funds for the business, but like they're looking at like WhatsApp messages between Andreen and her friends. And like basically this is her confirming what we've been saying, which is like he put up the money, but like it was all my vision. It was all my labor. It was all my doing.
And then they'd fight about it.
Yes.
So they were just kind of fighting over like who was more important kind of, or who had more say in what.
And we meet this guy named Andrew who's friends with both of them. And like the friends are starting to worry about actual violence between the two of them because Andreen is texting Andrew being like, it is so bad, girl. Like one of us is gonna snap.
Yes, someone is going to snap. And so in 2018, things did get physical between the two of them. And it was at a Christmas party.
Like at their own Christmas party at their house.
And Andrew, the friend, is a witness.
Andrew told investigators that the couple's war of words turned physical the night before a Christmas party at their home in 2018, where the McDonalds got into a physical altercation.
So when I went into the kitchen, Andy and Andreen were grappling on the floor. And the next morning, they were laughing about it.
The next morning, they were like laughing about it like it was no big deal.
Which to me is like, oh, this happens a lot.
Yes.
So that Christmas party, 2 months after the Christmas party, Andreen is missing and her blood is in the house. So like something happened and he did it.
And it's escalating. The violence is getting worse and worse and worse.
So by July 11th, 2019, Andreen has been missing for 133 days.
Yeah.
And this is when her remains are found in a farmer's field.
Just like 6 miles from their house. We meet the farmer who found the remains. He said he was like on his tractor going out to like deal with a cow skull.
I know.
First of all, how long had that cow been out there rotting that there was like a skull?
Yeah. And then I was like, wait, what happened to the cow? And then like while he's doing that, he's finding human remains. Like everything about this just feels so dark.
All I could imagine was that like some animal must have moved Andreen's remains or something. Like, I don't know. It's a very weird scene.
It's a weird detail to put in and then not explain. I wish I didn't know anything about it.
It's true.
Because it's like, wait, where are you? And like how far away? And it's like she was out there for how long was she out there?
I know.
Like it's just so the remains do belong to Andreen McDonald. And you know, like Cindy, her sister, Maureen, her mother, Jackie, her mother-in-law.
I was at a church praying for Andreen. I couldn't do anything. I broke down.
It hit us like a storm because we still wasn't thinking like that.
Everyone is absolutely shocked and devastated.
They're despondent about it to this day. Like in the interview for this, they can barely talk about it.
I mean, could you?
I mean, like, I would never do one of these things.
Yeah.
If something happened and, I mean, unless Skye Borgman came to me and was like, this story needs to be told, we're going to do it the right way, then maybe. But like I would, and no shade to these families. I mean, these stories need to be told. There are lessons to be learned. And I think people do learn things from hearing them, but I don't think I could participate.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Could you?
I think, it would all depend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful that I don't have experience weighing.
I think about this all the time,
weighing the why or why not. But I don't know. I think there's something about like getting the story told right.
Yes.
Like if they're doing it.
That's what I'm saying. If it's Skye Borgman came to me, fine, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But like
if
Dateline,
it's being
I don't know.
done,
Yeah.
I'd want to be involved, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true
If it's
too.
that or like I'm not part of it and then it's done wrong.
Uh-huh.
If those are my options, which I think in this day and age they are,
Yeah.
I'd have no choice, I think.
Yeah.
And it would not be good, but I think I'd have no choice.
Well, less than 48 hours, Andre is arrested. He's charged with his wife's murder. We go into an ad at this point and they say to us, see more evidence from the case at 48hours.com. Why don't you just show it to us? Just include it in the documentary.
41 minutes.
I guess so, but like give us less of like, did she run away to go on vacation with her friends?
Girl, I don't think, did anyone say that?
Well, no, but it's just the idea of them entertaining the idea that she left on purpose. And
But I'm really asking, did they?
Yeah. When they were like searching the house, they're like, we had to make sure that the passports weren't used and the credit card, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
I think that's just pretty standard though.
I just want, if there's more evidence in the case, let me see it,
Right. Yeah. So the prosecutors on this case are saying,
Despite the evidence found at the McDonald home, the hammer and the blood, the prosecution could not say for sure how Andreen died.
We say he caused her death, however, we don't know how.
there's no way to prove how Andreen was
and
killed.
that's really important because she'd been out there in that field for 133 days. So she was too decomposed to know the manner of her death.
Yeah, the medical examiner can't get any details that would be helpful in a trial.
And they say, they're like, we can say he caused her death, but we can't say that we know how.
Right. And the prosecution is saying the motive was jealousy, mostly because Andreen was so successful, but then Aubin, the boyfriend with the matching tattoos.
Yeah. They say that the motive was him feeling emasculated.
Yeah.
Men, can we do fucking better?
I mean, I'll wait. I've been waiting.
Can you
Any day
imagine
now.
the motive for murder is feeling emasculated by your powerful, wonderful... By the way, her business wasn't fucking Bitcoin. Her business was taking care of old people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and she was a philanthropic. She was going to Jamaica. She's like, we see video of her like in her own community, just handing out food to unhoused people. Like to feel, what was it? What did you love about her,
You
Andre?
could have just like been her partner and helped the whole business thrive and
she
flourish.
didn't become that entrepreneurial overnight. She didn't become... So like when you met her, what did you love about her? You know what I mean?
That she was 19 and he could try to bring her down.
I guess that's true.
This was never part of the plan. In his mind, she fucked it all up.
Yeah.
The minute she got successful, Starlight, oh my God. The minute she started doing that, he was fucked.
The idea that emasculation would be like his motive for murder, it will never not be shocking to me. You know?
It's crazy. Now, the defense is like, wait.
How would you respond to the notion that what caused all this was his envy of his wife's success?
I don't see any evidence of that.
Andre is a major in the Air Force. I mean, he's incredibly successful on his own right.
She's not
Doesn't
understanding.
matter.
It doesn't matter how successful he is.
Doesn't matter.
If she's successful, that's the problem.
It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
So Andre, the husband, has been on house arrest this whole time since 2021. And he's been totally silent and unhelpful.
Yeah.
Until January 17th, 2023, right before the trial starts, Andre has what we are told is an extraordinary story.
Yeah, he calls his own mother and says, I'm going to tell you what happens, and bursts into tears.
Yeah.
Now, we don't get the story yet. We just get that right before the trial starts, he is now telling people what he says happened.
And he calls his mother with the story without telling his defense team.
Oh my God,
because
that was...
they're all interviewed together and they're like, yeah, shocking is one word for it, Van Zandt. Like, what?
I know.
But now this guy is going to testify.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first, the prosecution lays out their case, and they call Dr. James Feig, who's a forensic psychologist. And he says that, this is hard, everyone, I'm sorry.
The trial stuff is really hard, and it's very graphic. So if you want to stop now, we totally understand. But if you are going to listen, not for kids, the trial stuff, what we learn is bad.
It's not just what he did to her, it's hearing him say it.
Yes.
And like that is incredibly hard. But Dr. Feig, the forensic psychologist, he says that Andreen has severe injuries that are consistent with being struck by a blunt object.
She had a fractured spinal cord, a broken rib, and a split jaw. But the pathologist could not determine what exactly had caused Andreen's death.
The way that I have phrased her cause of death is homicidal violence, including blunt force trauma.
It's homicidal violence, including blunt force trauma, but he can't go into any more details than that.
How is that not enough?
I know. It's like, well, do we have any objects? Oh, we have a hammer?
Right.
Like, oh.
Right, exactly.
2 plus 2 is fucking 4.
So the defense is up, and they're saying this is not a murder case. They say it's about degree of responsibility, and that they're going to show evidence of an accident, a mutual fight, all of which happened in the blink of an eye.
And the defense has one witness.
Yeah.
And the witness is the husband.
Yeah. So he gets up on the stand. Just seeing him on the stand is enraging just on its own.
He is so smug and entitled.
And it's going to be pointed out later, not an ounce of remorse, not an ounce of sadness for the loss of his wife, the mother of his child.
From the minute he starts talking, everything is Andreen's fault, 100%.
Yes. And he says it. He says this is absolutely her fault.
Because at first when I heard, it was an accident, we're going to get the sob story. We're going to get, oh my God, it was a tragic accident. I can't believe it. She tripped and fell. That's what because that's usually what happens.
Yeah. No.
He is vindictive and cruel and mean on the stand talking about what happened.
So he says, February 28th, 2019, they were at the tax preparer, and he discovers that Andreen had started a new business a year earlier without his knowledge. And when they ask him, what did that mean to you? He says, that meant that she was robbing me.
Now,
I don't understand what that means.
Clearly, these two had a lot of secrets.
Yes.
And they didn't trust each other at all.
Yeah.
And that it's a betrayal that your wife is starting a business behind your back. The reason she's doing that is because he's a nightmare and he's a controlling asshole.
And if she, and like this will be her own business that she can then leave him, because she can't leave him now because he's a partner in her current business.
Right. So he sees it as robbing him because it's something that's just hers. She is his.
I mean,
in his mind, she belongs to him.
And somebody tell me why him saying this on the stand is a good idea.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was shocked by, and we're just getting started, everyone,
right.
like what he says on the stand, but I was shocked that I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be some bullshit. Oh my God, she slipped and fell. No.
No.
This is him explaining why he did what he did.
Right. Yes.
And why we should all agree that
it's her fault.
It's her fault.
So he says after a heated argument that evening, he left the house to cool off at the gas station, which we saw. We saw the surveillance video. They continue to argue over text. He comes home. He says he wants a divorce and suggests splitting the business. And then, according to him, she becomes furious at the idea of splitting the business.
Charges into the room to confront me. So when she comes into the room, I turn around and she comes like right up in my face. So at that moment, she spits in my face. So at that point, I grabbed her, because she's like right in front of me, so I grabbed her head. I think we had like a clash of heads.
We had a clash of heads. And I'm like,
yes.
So you fucking headbutted her. Then that, quote, opened up a cut on her face. And I'm like, because of course the cut was already there, right? Like zero accountability. So Andreen, now he headbutts her.
Yeah.
She's bleeding. She runs to the bathroom to sort of like assess the damage.
Yep.
That she turns on the lights to look at her face. That's how the blood got on the light switch.
Right.
Because the cops were like, how did her blood get on the light switch? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
And this, up until this point, this is the most truthful this piece of shit is.
Yes.
He headbutted her. There wasn't a clash of the heads.
Right.
Like, give me a break. But like, I think that's exactly what happened. I think she was kind of stunned and wanted to see what happened. Hit the light switch. That's how we get the blood on the light switch. Now, when Andreen sees what happened to her, according to the piece of shit, this is when she now attacks. She's in a rage and she attacks him.
Yeah.
And then we get another like trigger warning from 48 Hours, which I super appreciate.
And
saying
it's real.
That this testimony may be disturbing to some viewers, and it 100% is.
Yeah. He's saying in self-defense, he punches her, she falls, then he kicks her twice.
He says, I remember grabbing her and tripping her.
Yes.
He's admitting on the stand that he tripped her and pulled her to the ground.
Then kicks her twice, and then hears her wheezing. Now, in the moment when she's wheezing, according to him...
And then also, like in the background, I could hear like some footsteps.
The footsteps of their young daughter, Elena. McDonald said he left to put Elena back to bed, and when he returned about 30 minutes later, his wife was dead.
And when he comes back 30 minutes later, she's dead.
Right. And I'm sitting here stunned and reeling.
I know.
On so many levels, and then thinking, I'm sorry, this is their defense?
This is their defense.
This is the only person the defense is calling. This man just sat there and told us that he beat his wife to death.
Yes. Yes. And also let her die.
And what part of it was an accident?
Right.
What part of it was where's the accident part?
Right.
The accident is, I got mad, she got mad, I stormed into the room, she came after me, tripped and fell, hit her head.
Yes.
That's the accident.
Yeah.
I remember grabbing her and tripping her.
Yeah. He threw her to the ground where he kicked her to death.
The second kick, I heard some type of wheezing.
After the headbutt, which probably had her completely disoriented.
He got on the stand and described in detail beating his wife to death, and this is the accident defense. I can't.
We're still not done, fam. We're still not done. So he then says he didn't even bother calling 911 because she was already dead.
Mm-hmm.
His concern was getting the body out of the house so his daughter didn't see her mother laying on the floor dead.
And I'm like, don't you dare invoke your daughter right now, you sick son of a bitch.
I know.
Fuck you. How dare you mention your daughter right now?
And if this story is true, the 6-year-old daughter, is now asleep in the house by herself while he loads the body into the car, takes the body to the field where he says, and this is so bad, fam, stripped her naked to burn the clothes in the burn pit at home. Then, what about the bloody hammer? He says after the investigators left,
he went back to the field before dawn, angry and armed with the yellow hammer, a can of gasoline, and a plan.
My plan was to hit the person that caused this whole circumstance. And
You felt it was her fault, right?
It's absolutely her fault.
What did you do with the gasoline?
I poured it on her and then I used the lighter and set it on fire.
He lights the body on fire, and then when the fire is out, he beats the body to a pulp with the hammer.
And now, part of it is true. He beat her to death. But then the cops are like, wait, it doesn't match up with your story about the accident with the bloody hammer. Like, what? And Andre's like, no. I can explain.
Yeah.
After the cops searched the home initially, Andre leaves the house, and that's when he goes to the remains.
I don't know what to believe. My worst fear, I don't think that if you're going to buy a hammer, I don't want to get too graphic here, and I don't want to guess things that didn't happen, but my idea is that if you hate this woman so much that you want to use a hammer to her body, I don't think you want to do that when she's already dead, is all I'm saying.
Well, when they ask him that on the stand, in his own defense, by the way, he says, because they're like, okay, so you went and then just like after she was out there and the cops are searching your house, you go and beat her more. He says, my plan was to hit the person that caused this whole circumstance.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you're saying this is Andreen's fault? And he goes, this is absolutely Andreen's fault. And that I really I sort of got actually outside of myself.
It is because it's important to understand the way he says it. He says it so angrily.
He's still mad.
Yes.
Because he's still mad at her.
Yeah.
And it's never going to stop. He's never going to stop hating her.
And this piece of shit defense team, because this is all under cross-examination from the prosecution that he's saying all of this. The defense is saying they want us to believe that he lived in fear of her because she went to the gym every day. They literally show us videos of her, and she's weightlifting. She is a very strong woman.
She can lift him, so they have
a
video.
They can lift 300 pounds or whatever. Well, she's not lifting him. She's giving him a piggyback ride. And you see Andreen, and she's a fit woman, but she's a thin, small woman. He's a big, muscular man. It is not. There's no contest as to who's going to win in a fight.
I really was sitting in complete disbelief.
I know.
like, wait, I'm sorry. Her like workout routine is on trial now.
Exactly.
But this guy admitted he killed, like, I don't understand.
Right. No, because it doesn't make any sense.
Because and he's mad about the other business.
Right.
This has nothing to do with who's more physically fit. Like, what are you saying? He said under oath on the stand, he looked right at you and calmly and coldly described how he beat her to death because he hated her and was jealous of her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about her workout routine?
Right.
No.
Right. Or
no.
You're going to, after telling us that you beat her to death, you want me to then believe that you lived in fear of her.
Right.
Because
nope.
she was, no, absolutely not.
No.
So after 6 days, the jury gets the case. 11 hours into deliberations, they send a note to the judge saying that they're hopelessly deadlocked. So the options are either murder, manslaughter, or not guilty by self-defense. Now, we have two of the jurors here, and they are saying, they want to be clear.
At no point did any juror think that he was innocent or that it was self-defense.
The problem was wording.
Because people really picked apart the definitions of murder and recklessness.
They got stuck on the definitions of the murder, regular murder, and reckless murder.
I don't understand. He told you himself.
Yeah.
His actions then and now prove it. He blames her.
Yeah.
On the stand, he blames her. He desecrated her body after she died. That is someone with anger and hate in their hearts.
This is an example of the jury getting it really wrong.
And he lied for months.
Right. Because it's sort of like we're hung up on the definite. So either the difference between murder and reckless murder is manslaughter or murder. And it's a difference of 20 years or 50 years or whatever.
A life sentence.
Right, exactly. And, at the end of the day, ultimately 9 jurors believed his story. 9 jurors, one of them says we had no other evidence, so we had to believe what he said because his was the only story that we got. So 9 of them believe his story and wanted manslaughter. 3 of them wanted murder. Ultimately, he's found not guilty of murder, but the lesser charge of manslaughter and gets 20 years.
The 3 murder holdouts were basically like bullied into agreeing with everyone else.
Yeah. Because it was
I'm like shaking right now.
I
don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
I'm really like, it's because I'm really struggling to understand the hemming and hawing of, and I'm really trying to like reconcile it within myself.
Well, her family's doing the same thing. The family's saying everything you're saying, which is they told us on the stand that he killed her. They told us how he did it.
And how angry he is even now on the stand. This is absolutely her fault. So I'm just trying to think of like all the shit we've said over the years on the show about like, I don't know, just everything we've said. And I'm just like, what, sitting in that jury room, like, I feel insane. Because I'm like, how do you, 9 of you?
I know.
Were like unsure about the reckless. I can't. I'm like really having a hard time.
Well, and interestingly, it was 6 men and 6 women on the jury. The 3 holdouts for murder were men, which means 6 women were saying manslaughter.
It's crazy to me. It is crazy to me.
I know.
It's crazy. Like I'm having like a physical reaction to it.
I know. This was a really hard day. I'm going to say it again. We did 2 really hard ones back to back. This was a really, really tough one.
And now, like after the verdict, another thing I hated is that the cops give Andreen's father.
I did present Mr. Anderson with a gift. I asked my deputy to remove the handcuffs from Andre as they put him back into the cell, and I presented those cuffs to Mr. Anderson. I wanted them to feel some sort of connection to at least sending him away to prison.
They want Andreen's father and family to have some connection to him being locked up. But the way that the deputy who did it holds a press conference to say that he did it.
I find it really gross.
It doesn't feel like he did it for the family. He feels like he did it for the media coverage.
And like, what is more, I mean, it's a pretty big reminder.
Yeah.
Of the worst thing that happened to this family.
And the fact that there wasn't real justice here. You know what I mean? It's like, this wasn't a win. Like, manslaughter doesn't feel like a win to me.
No. I don't. And Starlight Homes is now closed. Starlight Homes was a thing that people really, really needed, and the business went under. Because if he couldn't have it, nobody could.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, in the end, we learned that Andreen's mom and sisters are raising Elena, which is great,
Yeah.
And like, Andre's mother is involved, sort of tangentially in that. And it just all sucks. It's what we say every single time. When the man kills the woman for whatever stupid fucking reason, and the kids are the ones that suffer.
Yeah.
You know?
I do have some updates, though.
Oh, wow.
So he was sentenced to 20 years in prison for manslaughter plus 5 years for tampering with evidence. So his appeals keep getting denied. So
well, that's good.
That's good. And on March 8th of 2024, a San Antonio civil jury awarded $210 million to Andreen's family in a wrongful death suit against Andre, which they'll never see.
Money they'll never see, but
But there's like another like on paper win, I guess, in some way. And like that his appeals keep getting denied. So that's, if we got to grab onto something, there's that.
We'll take that today, girl.
We'll take that.
Oh my God. Girl, we did it. What's it? 48 hours?
It's Andreen McDonald, Millionaire, Vanishes.
Oh, this one was really tough.
Really hard.
Well, fam, we love you. Join us over in the Facebook group. It's the True Crime Obsessed podcast discussion group. I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion about this episode over there.
Yes.
Go chime in.
Highly
say hello.
requested. I mean, people just want to be mad about it. Like, they just need a place to go with it. Like, this, people were in my DMs a lot about this because this episode came out pretty recently.
Oh, is that right?
So they were like,
yeah,
it makes you feel crazy.
It does.
It makes you feel crazy. And I feel like people will feel a little comfort, at least. Like, you are not crazy, dear listener.
Right.
Like, this was bananas.
Absolutely insane. What are we doing next, girl?
Oh, God. Okay, so this is a bonus ep, right? So this is coming out on Thursday. So tomorrow, Friday, is episode 1 of This is the Zodiac speaking on Patreon.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Tuesday on the regular feed is Worst Roommate Ever. My BFF Tried to Kill Me, season 2, episode 1.
Which we just recorded right before this, which is why we're screaming.
Oh, my God. We'd be screaming anyway, but yeah, it's good. I'm going to sleep soundly tonight. I'm exhausted by it all. And then you get like one more bonus episode at the end of the year.
That's it? We're down to one more bonus app?
One more bonus app, but like not forever.
No, just for this year.
In a couple weeks, it's going to be a brand new
restart,
year.
yeah.
We're doing more bonus episodes for you.
Yes.
So like this is the second to last. So you got this one and one more this year, but like don't worry.
Yeah, it means nothing to you. We're just thinking in calendars and...
It's me and Natalie with the numbers. Totally. I'm like, this is episode 21.
No,
okay,
you guys are working so hard on it. It's amazing. It's a feat to behold. But we love you, fam. Thank you for being here and,
take care of each other out there.
I know.
We need you.
I know. It's the month of Thanksgiving. Let's be nice to each other.
Okay.
All right, bye.
We love you. Bye.
Bye. Sorry if we were really down today.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye. I was happy. Ryder loved it here. But seeing it just makes me angry. I really have a hard time believing that the person that I've known for 25 years, my best friend and a roommate, could do what she did. But it was diabolical. It was evil. It was plotted and planned so perfectly. She found joy in tormenting me. I don't think I was human to her. I think if I had died, she would have sat in this house with my child. And I don't think she would have ever thought of it again.